Okay, so the first thing we've learned now, just for the recording, is that you count from the note to the next note. You start on the note, you put your pencil on the note, and you count it. Don't guess it. Put your pencil on and actually count line space, or space line, whatever, okay? But actually count it. You cannot believe how many kids look at it and say it's a fourth, and it's not a fourth, it's a fifth, because they haven't counted it. Okay, so that's the first thing. Okay, the second thing is that each of these intervals in C major, or in the key that it's related in, has an initial name. Like, I call it its birth name. So it's the name you had when you were born in theater in the hospital, which is Sebastiana. And then people started calling you Seb, or started calling you like Guitar Whiz, or whatever. And those are your other names, okay? So Justin, what's your nickname?
J.
Like Jay. Okay, so Jay is not the name that you had when you were born, that your parents gave you, right? Okay, so these are the birth names of these intervals in a key. So this over here is called a major second. Okay, that there. Okay, sorry, major second. The next one is called a major third. Okay, the next one is called a major fourth. So a major third would be that. A major fourth would be that. So I'm just going to put in major. Oh, sorry. Perfect fourth. Sorry, guys. Wow. Must be sleepy. Perfect fourth. Okay. And then this is a bit hard to show, but then up to your G is a perfect fifth. Okay. And then you get a major sixth, right? And then you get a major seventh, and then you get an octave. Okay, also known as a perfect octave. Okay, so the first thing you've got to do with intervals is that you have to memorize their birth names. You've got to memorize the initial name in the key that they're in. So if you're in D major, these intervals will still be this. If you're in E flat major, it will still be a major second, major third, perfect fourth, fifth, major sixth, major seventh octave, or perfect octave. Okay. So the octave can be called an octave, perfect octave. It can also be called an eighth.
An eighth.
A perfect eighth, yeah. So, questions? Does that make sense?
So it goes major second, major third, perfect fourth, perfect fifth, major sixth, major seventh, perfect octave, or perfect eighth.
Correct.
Perfect. Awesome.
Okay. So, guys, there's a reason for this, and I don't want to get too complicated about it, but generally with the major intervals, you can make them minor. And with the perfect intervals, with a like, for instance, a major third, it doesn't work with all of them, but with a major third, you can tell that it's a major sound, it's a happy sound. And with a major six, you can tell that it's a happy sound. If you make it a minor six, it suddenly sounds very sad. If you make a major third a minor third, it sounds very sad. But when you take a perfect fourth and perfect fifth, they sound like, remember we studied organum, we studied Gregorian chant.
Yes.
Yeah.
Remember that the perfect fourth and the perfect fifth are the intervals that make up a Gregorian chant. And that's why it has that very open, strange, like not major, not minor sound.
In between, almost.
Yeah, and that so remember when we studied Gregorian chant, we studied the fact that they used to do fixed intervals of perfect fourth, perfect fifth, or octaves.
Yeah.
Vans, are you okay? Okay, sorry. So these are the perfect intervals. They used to go octave unisons, or they used to go fourths, unisons, or fifths. So that's a good way of remembering. Fourths, fifths, and octaves are the Gregorian chant intervals, and they are called perfect. And the reason they're perfect is they don't have a real major or minor sounding counterpoint. They kind of sound bland. They sound open, you know.
Okay.
So it's got that Gregorian chant sound. And then Bach came along, or the Ars Nova came along, and then within that period, they started saying, no, but we can add major and minor to this. It can sound sad or happy, and not like that weird. It's almost like an Eastern sound, that perfect fourth and fifth. Okay.
So the perfect, the major and minor came obviously before. I mean, after the perfect.
The major and minor came after the perfect intervals. Correct, Seb.
Okay.
Okay. Cool. So let me just draw this again. So, okay. So in C major, that is a major second. Now, when you're doing intervals, you check the second note according to the first note. So now watch this. What happens if I raise this second note? I do that. I raise it by a semitone. It alters the interval now, okay?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So now it's not called a major second anymore. What is it called?
Major second sharp.
No. Justin, do you know?
Raise second or something? I don't know.
Okay. It becomes an augmented second.
Augmented.
Ah.
Okay. So guys,
So
have a
wait.
look at this.
So if you were to make it a flat now, would it be a diminished?
Yeah. We get no. No. It goes minor first, then diminished.
Okay. Oh yes. No. That's actually true. That's true.
Okay.
Because
it's slightly more complicated when you flatten it. So
because minor first is basically half diminished, and then diminished is full diminished. That's how I remember it.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So
it's making sense.
guys, what you've got so far is if you got that, if you raise every single note in a major scale, they become augmented. So the augmenteds are easy. The raising is easy. If the note has been raised according to that first note, then it becomes augmented. So a major second will become augmented second. A major third will become an augmented third. A perfect fourth will become an augmented fourth. A perfect fifth augmented, major sixth augmented, major seventh an augmented seventh, and an octave will become an augmented octave. Okay. So watch here. If I go C to D sharp, that's an augmented second. If I go C to E sharp, that's an augmented third. To fourth, augmented fourth. If I go to fifth and I sharp it, it becomes augmented. If I go to sixth, it becomes augmented. Seventh, augmented seventh, and octave, augmented octave. Okay. So that's easy, guys. So you got the birth names major second, major third, perfect, major, octave. And then if you raise that second note, they now become all augmented. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. That's easy.
So it go a major,
One
an augmented major second, or a major third.
No, yeah.
So did you say that if one of them is augmented, does every single one have to be augmented, or is it only the one?
No. The way they ask the question is they give you two notes. And then you've got to check the first note and say what key you're in.
Okay.
Then according to the key, you've got to say that second note, what has happened to it. So it's just a singular question that says, what interval is this? So you first got to say it's a second by counting.
Major second.
And then you've got to give the quality. So if the second note's been raised, it will become an augmented second.
Okay.
So would you pronounce it major second augmented, or just augmented major?
No. So
because I just want to write this down properly.
Geez, well, I've gone blank. Major second, and no, you'd write an augmented second. So it's the quality first.
And then you wouldn't put major.
Second. No.
Okay.
You don't.
No.
It's different. They're different things.
No. Yeah. So the major second has been transmuted. It's been transformed
into an augmented second.
Yeah.
Okay. So what happens if you were to raise and did a perfect? Or have we not done that yet?
No. Exactly the same. Augmented.
Augmented. Okay. So
if you raise any of them, they become augmented.
Okay.
So just put rule. Any interval that gets raised in a major key comes augmented. Okay. Justin, question?
No.
Okay, cool. Now, what happens if you raise it again? So what happens if I go from C to D, but I put a double sharp in front of that next note. Now it hasn't got a single sharp. It hasn't been raised once, it's been raised twice.
Double.
It becomes
I don't know.
double augmented, correct?
Double. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's very simple. If you've got all the major intervals with their birth names, if you raise them, they become augmented. If you raise them again, they become double augmented. Okay,
So you'd say a double augmented 7 and second.
correct.
Okay, wow.
Okay. All right. Next step. So
That's you, Justin.
okay. So over here, I've got my second, here I've got my third, here I've got my fourth, here I've got my fifth, here I've got my sixth, here I've got my seventh, right? Got all my intervals, right? So if I flatten a major, what does it become? It becomes a minor.
Minor.
Okay, so if I flatten this, it becomes a minor second. This is a little bit more complicated to remember.
Okay.
If I flatten a third, it becomes a minor third. Okay. If I flatten a perfect, it immediately becomes diminished. It doesn't go to minor.
Okay.
Okay. So
So
it goes straight to a diminished. You can just put dim fourth. If I flatten a perfect fifth, it becomes a diminished. If I flatten a major sixth, it becomes a what?
-6.
Great. So a major interval always becomes a minor first, and then it goes diminished. So if I go to a sixth and I flatten it, becomes a minor. If I go to a seventh, it becomes a minor. And if I flatten an octave, what does it become?
A
Because it's a perfect octave.
diminished octave.
Mm-hmm. Correct. If I flatten a minor interval, what does it become?
A diminished.
Diminished. If I flatten a diminished interval, what does it become?
Double diminished.
Double diminished. You got it. That's it. So guys, I will put the lesson on the Google Classroom, the video, so you can watch it again, and I'll draw up some notes on it as well for you to just look. So just to recap, guys, revision. You get a major scale with a whole bunch of intervals. Okay, that goes for any major scale you get. So remember, on intervals, you're always working in a major scale. You always isolate the interval. Whether the melody they're giving you is in a minor key or whatever, you don't work like that. You take the bottom. Okay, so this is the next step. But wait, before I get there, I'm getting confused. So to recap, the intervals in a scale have birth names. Those are major, major, perfect, perfect, major, major, perfect. Then if you raise them once, they all become augmented. If you raise them twice, they become double augmented.
Double augmented.
If you flatten a major interval, it becomes a minor.
Minor.
If you flatten it again, it becomes diminished.
Yes.
If you flatten it again, it becomes double
diminished.
Okay. If
So-
you
so-
take a
Technically, a major interval cannot become double diminished if you flatten twice. It'll be diminished.
so it says again.
Only perfect intervals will be flattened twice. Will be double diminished.
Yeah.
Okay.
If
they've flattened twice.
You know, I've never really seen double augmented or double diminished in a test or exam up until the end of matric.
But it's just theory.
But it is possible.
Oh, okay.
It is possible they may give you one. But if you're getting a double augmented or double diminished, go back and double check that you haven't made a mistake, because it's very possible that question will not occur. Probably 95% chance you will not get that till the end of matric. You'll only get that at varsity. Okay.
Damn.
Okay. So, okay. Right. So now the next thing is, how do we do the questions given? So I'm going to do this. We're ending at, when do we end? 20 past. What?
25 past.
Okay. Quickly, let's do this, because, guys, this stuff tends to fry your brain a little bit. Okay. So this is how they're going to give you the question, guys. They're going to give you a note, and then they're going to give you a second note. Okay. So it doesn't matter how they give you those two notes. You always take the lower one. So let's say they give you a C here, and they give you an F there, right? They're going to say, what is that interval? Now they want the quality. They don't just want the distance. So the first step one, is you count to get the distance. So you take your pencil, you put it on here, 1, 2, 3. You say, oh, this is a third, right? Step 2, guys, I'll write this out for you so it's not so messy. Step 2 is you say, what key am I in? So you always take the bottom note as your major key. You don't work in minor as your major key. You say, oh, the bottom note is a C, therefore I'm in C major. That's how you think about it. So if the bottom note was C sharp, you would be in C sharp
major. Yeah.
It's like what you do is you isolate the two notes and you reference the bottom note as a major, and then it puts the other note in context. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And then step 3, you say, what has happened to the second note? Is it in the key of this note here, that the one we looked at? Step 3. In key or not? Sorry, these notes are actually for my own purpose, so I can summarize it for you later. So you say, hey, if that is C major, is that E in C major? Now you can use your key line. So you go back to your key line. You say, how many sharps and flats does C have? Oh, it has none, right? So is this note in C major?
Yes.
Yes.
Correct. So what is it? Birth name?
Birth name will be a major third.
Major third.
Great. Okay. Let's change it up a bit.
Oh Lord.
You get easy. You get that. You get that C to E flat. Step 1, you say, oh, it's a third. Step 2, you say we are in C major.
Yeah. No.
Step 3, you say, what has happened to this note in C major? So we've ascertained that this E is in C major, but what's happened to it?
It's been flattened.
Right. It's been flattened what? How many times?
Once.
Once. So it is a what?
Therefore, a minor interval. It's a minor third.
Great. Minor third. Okay. Okay, what? Let me change it up a bit more. Let's do a completely different thing. Do you guys have your key line in front of you?
I
do now.
Yeah.
Okay, watch this one, guys. Now we start verging into other keys. It's A to D. Can you see my board?
Yeah.
Right. What key are we in for these two intervals?
Hey.
Right, we're in A major. How many sharps and flats does A major have?
3.
3 sharps.
Right, now you go to your second function. Check how cool this is. Go to your second function.
F sharp,
F sharp,
C sharp, G sharp.
Right. Is this second note in the key or out of the key of A major?
It's out of... No, it's in the key. Because
in the key.
Because E sharp is not...
It's not an F sharp. It's not a fat
C
cat,
sharp.
C sharp, or a G
G
sharp.
sharp. So
It's in the key. If you played A major,
it's normal.
So what is this interval?
A perfect fourth.
Perfect fourth.
Hell yeah.
Correct. Well done. Justin, did you get it?
Yes.
Cool, guys.
Okay.
That is it. So, guys, what I'm going to do is, do you want to do one more? A hard one.
Okay.
Okay. They don't really get hard. If you follow the 3 steps, remember I told you about the step process. Follow the steps, no problem. F sharp. Tell me how many sharps does F sharp have?
6.
Great. Your second note is A. Step 1, you count. It's a third. You know it's a third because you go F, G, A, right? Or you count with your pencil. Step 2, you say I'm in the key of F sharp. And then step 3, you say, is that second note in the key of F sharp?
No.
No, it's not.
It's been flattened.
What should it be?
It should be A sharp.
Good. Very good. So what is it?
It's a minor. Minor third.
I mean,
it is a minor third.
Yeah, because you put the flat on. Well,
okay. Let's do an augmented. So
because technically it's been flattened, sir. Because
yeah. So what happens if you had this? Okay, so you're in F sharp major, but that is in the key. What would it be? Birth name?
Major third.
Great. And this? If I put a double sharp?
It would be an augmented.
Okay. Guys, a
Augmented word.
lot of people make this mistake. They say, "Ooh, double sharp. It's been raised twice." It hasn't.
I was
Raised
the
once.
flat. I'm so
It's
dumb.
only been raised once. According